Hi again. In A.T. Robertson's The Divinity of Christ in the Gospel of John, he's reached chapter 4, the Samaritan welcome to the Messiah, and also the welcome in Galilee. Jesus succeeded only too well in Judea and finally had to leave for Galilee unless he were willing to bring things to an issue with the Pharisees at once. John the Baptist had already been shut up in prison in Machaerus by Herod Antipas for his bold denunciation of the marriage with Herodias, both of them having divorced their spouses for the purpose, like some modern marriages. It is probable that the Pharisees had somehow inveigled John into the clutches of Herodias. The Pharisees are now jealous of Jesus, so he goes north through Samaria. The Samaritans did not object if travelers passed out of Judea through Samaria, only if they went towards Judea. The ministry of Jesus in Samaria is only an incident by the way as he went back to Galilee. The disciples evidently did not expect it, for they exhibit surprise that Jesus, a rabbi, should speak to a Samaritan and in public with a woman, contrary to Jewish customs and prejudices. The woman herself had expressed like surprise, and note also the evangelist's parenthetical explanation of the hostility between the Jews and the Samaritans. Jesus was a Jew in his human birth, but he was the Son of Man in reality and in his sympathy and outlook. He even piqued her curiosity about the living water which he could give for the asking. So he had no hesitation about revealing himself to this wicked Samaritan woman as the Messiah, expected alike by Jew and Samaritan, though he expressly asserted the salvation is of the Jews in verse 22, and so took the Jewish side in the famous controversy. But Jesus is keen to show also that God is spirit, and to be worshipped by our spirits, and that his worship is independent of temple or mountain. The conversion of this woman brought rare joy to the soul of Jesus, and showed that his kingdom would be cosmopolitan in fact. Every soul winner knows how to appreciate the joy of Jesus here in saving this soul from ruin. The Samaritans who are won to Jesus as the Messiah by this woman's zeal proclaim him as indeed the Savior of the world. It was easy for them to make the worldwide application of his mission so as to include themselves. Progress is thus made in the reception of Jesus, not only as the Messiah of Israel, but the Savior of mankind, that is, of men of all races and ages. He's no local or national or racial Redeemer, but the one and only Savior for all time. Now the welcome in Galilee. The very popularity of Jesus had led him to leave Judea because of the jealousy of the Pharisees. A prophet, as a rule, had no honor in his own country. Hence it seemed safe for Jesus to go back to Galilee, his homeland. But an element of surprise awaits him there, for the Galileans who had heard him and seen his signs in Jerusalem at the Passover had brought the great news back with them to Galilee. Hence the fame of Jesus in Jerusalem made him known in Galilee before he came to Cana again, where his first miracle was wrought. It is to be noted that the Gospel of John, though written primarily to prove the deity of Christ, has no hesitation in recording instances of the limitations of Jesus because of his humanity. Indeed, one may say that the writer takes pains to show the reality of his humanity against the docetic gnostics who denied it. For instance, note the weariness of Jesus at Jacob's well, his hunger and thirst, and his joy at the woman's conversion. So here we have the apparent surprise of Jesus at his welcome in Galilee, as later we have his emotion at the grave of Lazarus and the reality of his blood at his death. In the Gospel of John, the humanity of Jesus is just as actual as his deity. Westcott, that is B.F. Westcott, notes that in the first epistle of John, the deity of Christ is assumed and his humanity is proven. Just the reverse of the situation in the Gospel of John. The writer makes no effort to explain how these things can be, but modern science has revived our sense of wonder, and we are not so skeptical of what we cannot understand or explain. We do not understand either the nature of man, as spirit and matter, or the nature of God, as infinite. There is small surprise that the combination puzzles our intellects sorely. But our intellects have so many limitations that we are learning modesty in the use of them. The conduct of the noblemen at Capernaum is one illustration of the enthusiasm in Galilee towards Jesus at this early stage of his work there. Jesus, according to 4 verse 48, does not wish to minister to popular excitement as a mere miracle monger, but the man's evident sincerity wins the day. Galilee is apparently ripe for receiving Jesus as Messiah. The work seems to be hastening on all sides. I'll put in a link to the first of 3 videos we did on the deity of Christ in the early church, which document, by the way, is at our website, onewonders.org. See you soon.